of what happened 30 years ago. And as you will hear, we've even got at least one British representative who was active in Bucharest before 1989. This was a Romanian event. The Brits were not decisive, they weren't necessarily even important, but we do have a perspective which we would like to share. And you've already seen, those of you who arrived earlier, the Panorama programme from 1990, which encapsulated coverage of the events of December 1989. We in the UK are celebrating with you because the fall of communism seemed to be one of those things that could never be achieved. There were certain facts of the world in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and one of them was that the Berlin Wall was there forever, that the Soviet Union was there forever, and that the political, economic and social aspects of life that flowed from those facts were also there forever. And yet, we knew there was a desire for democracy, for social peace, for an end to repression. And that is what happened in '89, and I make no apologies for saying that it is something I think still to be celebrated. And I'm very aware that I'm supposed to be giving a talk on what was my communist Romania like and how has it changed today, and I haven't yet said much about that, and I've nearly used all my time. So I will quickly give you some feel for what my communist Romania was like. I arrived on the 16th of December 1983, and winter is not the best time to get the most positive impression of any place. And certainly my first impressions here were not very positive. You've seen in my, I'm not sure if you can see what I look like. The two male figures who've appeared in there are me. Yes. Buying flowers, Lapzigant. This is Mihai Bravo Church on its rails being moved for the building of Casa Poporului on the Bulevardul Victoriei Socialismului, which is what I still think of it as. I was indoctrinated in those years from 83 to 86. I'm just going to give you a few key thoughts from my experience. One was, I would say, the dominant fear was not, the dominant issue for me was not the lack of food, but there was no food to buy, as you've seen from some of the market shops. It wasn't the poor infrastructure. And it wasn't even the conflict of military blocs. It's very difficult. I was talking to John Simpson this morning. One of the most difficult things I find, even I who experienced it, find difficult to reconstruct is the idea of threat. Everybody in Romania belongs to one military bloc. Everybody in the UK belonged to another. And the blocs were prepared to destroy each other. And that's a thought that is, I think, almost impossible to recreate. And you certainly can't create the sort of mindset that created in which we lived our ordinary lives. There was that existential fear to everything that we did, without needing to think about it. But for me, the worst bit of communist Romania was what it did to human beings and their interactions with each other. And we have in the audience today two of my 5 Romanian teachers in the world. We should give them lots of sympathy. And when I got my second Romanian teacher in January of last year, at the end of January, when she had explained to me how she finished her university exams and was then approached by the authorities, first proper conversation I had had with a Romanian since my first lot of Romanian lessons in London in 1983, before I arrived here. And in the 3 years that I was here, I didn't have a proper conversation with any single Romanian. Now, partly that was because Romanians needed official permission to be able to talk to me as a foreigner, and partly it was because I, as a foreigner, was very suspicious of any Romanian who wanted to talk to me, because I was a target of the Securitate. They wanted, we assumed, in that environment of threat and enmity, they wanted to capture me for their work. I hope that sounds appalling and an impossible way to live, but that's what living in Europe of the Cold War felt like, and that's what it felt like for a Brit living in communist Romania. I've run out of time, and I promise that I'm going to keep today's event pretty much to time. But just to end up having sort of given you a little glimpse, and we will get a better glimpse from our next two speakers about what communist Romania was like. The fall of communism started on the 16th of December 1989 in a practical way in Timișoara, and it concluded, well, that's for debate. I'm not going to say when it concluded. But it is a thing to celebrate, because Romania, I think it's fair to say that Romania surprised itself greatly by being able to demonstrate that popular power which actually was capable of changing a regime. And that sort of power and influence of ordinary people, it seems to me, is something that we should celebrate, not just every 30 years, but every year. And in fact, we should be conscious of it every day in remembering our importance as citizens in a free Romania. I will stop at that and will now introduce one of the themes that will run through the day, and this is very much your work. We asked the participating schools to ensure that their representatives would be full participants in today's proceedings. And we suggested, as most of you here will know, that they should produce something as a focus for their research and preparation. And I'm delighted to say that amongst other things, we have a series of superb videos, and we will be showing you those videos throughout the day. In our programme, I think we call it an intermezzo. If not, that's what we're calling it privately. And our first two films come from the International School of Bucharest and the Gheorghe Lazar Colegiul Național. And I think we have a member of each of those schools to give us a very short presentation of what their film is about. I see one candidate here, so do we have a mic?